guys, welcome back to Tactical Insights. Topic of this video, as you see by the title, is active shooter, we're killing our own kids. One of the questions I get a lot of as an active shooter response instructor for both churches, schools, and businesses is, what do I teach my kids when it comes to active shooter? Recent incidents here in the last couple of years have really brought active shooters in schools especially back to the forefront. We all remember Columbine over a decade ago, and then recently they've really hit the media with a lot of active shooters. So people always, now they look and say, what are the guys that are actually teaching this? What do I teach my own kids who are in middle school and elementary school? There's a lot of ideas out there on response. Some really great ideas, some really terrible ideas. So what do I teach my kids? We got to back up just a little bit and say, what are the three responses to stress? Because in order to know what to teach the kids, we have to know what their natural response is going to be. We don't want to fight against natural response. If we want to try to train an 8-year-old to do something that's not natural to them, that's going to require a lot more training than we're willing to or even able to put in. So the three main responses to critical stress, which is going to happen in your kids, just like it happens to you, is fight, flight, or freeze. Now, between those three, let's think about an active shooter situation in a school. One of those is a guaranteed death sentence. And if you haven't figured it out yet, it's freeze. It's the only one that's guaranteed death sentence for those kids. But what are we teaching our kids in school? Kids, get under the desk. Hide under your desk. Everybody stay here. Everybody get in this room. Hide under the desk. We're forcing our kids into the one response that's going to get them killed. Shot placement rates really play into this, where a law enforcement officer in a shooting situation has an average hit rate. That means they are hitting their target with the round approximately 18 to 22% of the time. So let's call that 20%. 1 out of 5 times a police officer hits their intended target with a firearm during a shooting. The average active shooter is hitting their targets over 80% of the time. They're hitting their intended targets. It's not because these guys are Navy SEALs and super shooters and target shooters and they know what they're doing. Anyone can learn to shoot targets who are sitting under desks, who are laying on the ground waiting to be shot. As a police officer, 1 out of 5, you're in the dark, the lights are shining, people are moving, the shooter's moving, you're moving to shoot them. Everything is active at once. Changes those shot placement rates. So an active shooter hitting 80% ought to tell us that we're putting our kids in a position that they have no option but to be shot. Why would we force our kids to do the one thing that's going to guarantee them to get killed? If you go back and watch the Columbine videos and listen to the 911 tapes, you'll hear the teachers at that point doing the best they could do. And I'm not downing what they did. They're doing the best thing they knew how to do at the time, which was, kids, stand to the desks. Multiple kids were killed in the library at Columbine, hiding under the desks. There were 4 exits from that library, and the kids could have left at any time while the 2 shooters were active somewhere else. But the teacher continued to tell them, kids, stay under the desks. Nothing against the teacher. She ended up, unfortunately, she was killed in the incident as well. She was doing the best she could do at the time. She hadn't been trained properly. Now, we've looked back and we know this is not what we want to teach our kids to do. We're giving the active shooter static targets in order to take as many lives as he wants to do. So why are schools doing this, or why were schools doing this in the past? 3 things that schools always wanted to look at was accountability, liability, and survivability. We have to have all 3 of these, whether it's a fire, a tornado, a bomb threat, a shooting. Accountability, liability, and survivability. Unfortunately, somehow, we've decided that survivability was number 3, and accountability and liability came first. And I will not accept that. Survivability comes first. We'll find the kids. I don't care if they run off into a field. We'll spend the next 2 weeks looking for kids. I don't care. I'll take a lawsuit. I'd rather be sued by the family of a live child than one that's been killed in a shooting because we didn't respond properly. So what do I teach my kids? Both of my kids, who I said again, middle school and elementary school, both of them, we have talked about it, we've practiced it, they know what to do. I teach my kids, run, hide, fight. Simple for them to remember. Run, hide, fight. Run, hide, fight. Run, run, run. They know where to run. We've given them an assembly area. From your school, you will run and I will pick you up here. and we went to the school and we walked it so they know when they run, this is where dad is coming to get them. Or mom. Run, run, run. If you have to run out a window, run out a window. If you got to run down a hall, you run down a hall. If you have to take your friends with you, follow me and you run and you don't stop running until you get to the area that you know I'm coming to. If you cannot run, you hide. And you're going to hide and barricade if you need to. Find the best hiding place you can do. Not under a desk. That's not hiding. That's ducking for cover. You're hiding and barricading yourself until you can get an opportunity to run. If run and hide don't work, he's in your room and he's shooting people. If all else fails, you fight. And you fight. And you fight with whatever you have at your disposal. Whether it's a book, whether it's your fist, whether it's your feet. You fight and you never stop fighting. You're fighting for the opportunity to run. The only way you're going to survive an active shooter is to get away from him. Those kids aren't going to be able to take that guy down. I don't care how fancy these people talk about all this. We're going to teach the kids to, take out the shooter. An 8-year-old group of kids is not going to take out the shooter. The only survivability chance they have is to be not in the position where they're going to get shot. Run, hide, fight. Run, hide, fight. That's what I teach my kids. Look it up. Pay attention. Start talking to your kids about what they're being taught in school. Look at it practically. This is an issue that's not going away, folks. I hate to say it. I don't care what gun laws you put in place. Active shooters are not going to stop. Active shooters are looking for easy targets. They're looking for gun-free zones. They're funding them in the schools. They're going to keep it up. Run, hide, fight. Teach your kids. Talk to your kids about this stuff. It's important. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. Share the video. We'll see you next time.